Well, welcome to goal setting for July 2021, even though it's 30th of June. If you have a love-hate relationship with goals, then you don't know the beauty of them. And let me help you with goals, how goals have helped me personally break down all of the overwhelm around the difference between a project and a task, something that's in your control and something that's ultimately not in your control. And actually, one of the biggest little saboteurs for all of us is that we innocently overestimate what we can do in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or a year, and we underestimate what we can actually do in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You only have to look back at where you were 10 years and all of the things that have happened in your life and done that you planned and didn't plan to realize how much we can achieve and how much things can change. And I think people have an innocent kind of stress around goals, because out in the marketplace, you will see all sorts of things around goal setting, from crush it, nail it, all of this stuff. You will hear that, you know, that almost as if it's your fault if you don't hit your goal. And actually, that's a really unhelpful place to come to goals from, because goals to me are not the end in themselves. Goals are who we become on the way to them. Goals are also the space where we start to face our unrealistic expectations. The things that are on our goal list, where you actually look at them and you go, actually, this is, do I want this? Do I really want this? Or do I, you know, or am I doing this like a toxic goal because I think I should do it because everybody else is doing it? So when we do or don't achieve a goal, when we resist doing something towards a goal, and a goal is simply that sort of, that thing or the end result, or the thing that when we have that or when we've done that, we're going to get a personal sense of achievement and accomplishment, because it could be a personal skill or personal something, like, you know, saving for a holiday, for instance, and at the end of it you get the holiday. Certain goals are quite easy to put in place. If you know you've got to have $1,500 or something by the end of 12 months to make your holiday payment, it does not take a lot for us to realize that, you know, 10 or 12 payments of a certain amount is going to put aside is going to get us to that goal. The next thing is, have we got access to that easily? Do we not have access to that easily? And if so, how are we going to put that in our bank account? How are we going to make it easy so that we don't go and take that and do something else with it? So we get to look at a goal and we get to really look at ourselves at the same time. Here's where people misunderstand goals, because they use them as a stick to beat themselves up with. They make a very unrealistic fantasy type of goal that is kind of like they've got no idea how they're going to achieve it. And I don't mean a dream and a vision. I just mean that they kind of go, in 30 days, I'm going to do all this stuff. And even if you see some of the comments in the Facebook group where I come back into it, I'm like, I look at some of them and I go, knowing how much time you have in your lifestyle, knowing that you've not chunked this down, detailed this out in any way, shape or form, and the lovely Claire's on her way, knowing that you haven't chunked this down in any way, shape or form, we've got nothing to actually measure that goal with. So our goals I really am a big believer in this idea of SMART goals. I was just kind of saying why people fail and succeed at goals, Claire, you know, so there's just that little bit at the front. Looking very trim and lovely, by the way, or is that a good camera angle? You are looking very trim, and Kat's not. You are looking very trim.
I put it on your Facebook post. I love that jumper.
I love it. Blue sky thinking, it's fab. When you weren't here, I was like, what? What? So I think it's really important to look at goals. But when we are, say for instance, depending where we are personally in our belief in what we're doing, or our traction around what we're doing and our progress, it's important to set goals that sometimes make you feel safe, and sometimes stretch you, but they don't put you in a place where you actually can't measure it, you can't test it, and where it's just another excuse to kind of hold yourself back. That's not what goals are there for. So when I often feel in overwhelm, which sometimes is, oh, the link in the email didn't work. Oh, sorry, I think I must have just put it in there wrong. Yeah, that's not good, is it, if I haven't put the link in right? I think when I copied and pasted it, it ended up linking the bit that shouldn't be linked. Anyway, so when we're in overwhelm, because we all get in overwhelm, we all get in our own way, we all get mushroom thinking about stuff. The only way to actually deal with goals or any milestones on the way is to simply make breathing look easy. Literally make whatever you're about to do next, make breathing look easy. It's got to feel safe. So you have to start by making yourself feel safe, because unless you're the type of person that already enjoys kind of like, you know, hanging off the edge of a mountain without any kind of safety harness at all, unless you're that kind of adventure type of person, most of us need to use a space of safety. And then once we've got and make little teeny actions towards that goal that make it, we can just tick it off, and we can kind of say to ourselves, well done you, you've done it, now next. And you'll start to find that your ability to leap or to make bigger goals or to put those in place for yourself will naturally, the momentum around that will naturally start to occur when you are starting to see the fruit of trusting yourself to follow through and to understand how to set these things in the first place. So I just wanted to start off by actually, for people looking back, to actually say this, the point of goals is you cannot, every business, you are the CEO of your business. The companies that you've ever worked for in your life will sit around a boardroom and they will set their KPIs, they will set their targets, they will actually, that's why we get performance pay and everything else that's attached to it, you know, is that they've got to measure whether the company is moving forward. Now, when we're working for ourselves, the biggest problem is we're everything. We're everything, and we're all emotional, and we are stuck in our old habits, as much as me trying to change gear on an automatic car at the moment, recognizing that my left side of my body is in complete autopilot. So we're going to dive in right now, and we're going to look with what I call compassionate kindness, and I hold it in two hands here. Be kind to yourself in this first half, right? And we're going to kind of move through this, and just for time's sake, because I really want to get to the other section and I don't want to run out of time, is if you can just for today stick as many comments as you like, stick it in the chat and I'll read it out when I ask the questions for sharing back. And we will have a little point where you actually physically get to talk, as it were, because that's so important too. But let's get the first section out of the way, and then we'll kind of do our overview of it, and then we'll move into the actual chunking down, so that I can actually show people how to take these ideas that you've got and actually turn them into workable tasks that you can actually go, I've done that and this is the result of it, because that's what's going to give you confidence to move forward. So be kind to yourself, part number one here. Part number two, but not the kind that leads to excuses, because that does not make us forward. We got Liz coming in, right? She's just in time. It's my strap line to myself. Be kind, but not the kind that leads to excuses. Because we don't face all the choices in life. Then Liz, wonderful to see you. So you've just missed the very beginning bit, so don't worry. The very beginning bit is just talking about goals. I'd love you to go and watch it back at the beginning. Now, whether you've got your goal setting planner or not, whether you've got a book in front of you, don't mind. We will be turning these into printable ones as well, printable PDFs, so you can writable ones as well. So that's coming soon. But so use the chat for the minute for this first half, so that we can, so I can make sure I keep to time. And we're going to take the next kind of 45 minutes to go through the first half of this. There's a few bits here that when I get to them, you will, actually, I'll make sure I am in order here as well, because I think I've got my papers out of order. But when we get to the nitty gritty bits, things like number of followers, website views, etc. When I didn't have a website, you just leave it blank. But when you've been 3 months with it blank on your goal setting list, it's going to start to kind of ping up in your mind. You know what I mean? So it's there for a reason. It's not there to slam you. It's there to kind of just kindly show you what's actually going on. So use the chat for all of your comments. I'm going to ask you to comment throughout this. Please use the chat. And then at the end of this little section, we'll open the floor for what the kind of overview of what you've taken from this section. This is our, what I call, this is our Be Kind section. Okay. So what I'm going to do while we've got this is I'm going to share screen. So you can all see my workbook at the same time as writing your workbook, and we can just do this together. So date is the 30th of June. And so this is your July planning. So we're going to start with that first page in your book. What have you achieved or completed in the last month? What key lessons have you learned? And what obstacles came up that you hadn't foreseen? Be kind. And certainly be generous to yourself when it comes to achievements. People say, I haven't achieved anything. You have, I promise you. What have you achieved or completed in the last month? What key lessons have you learned? And what obstacles? And am I actually even recording this? Have I done this and just not recorded it to start with? Hang on a minute.
Yes, you have recorded it, because when I came in, it said recording was on.
Marvellous. That was it. I just had one of those small freak out moments. Thank you very much. Whoops. Wrong bit. Where's it gone? There we go. Here we go. I'm having to look back at my diary to work out what I've done. Okay, so, oops. I'm going to move on to the next one. Does anybody need any more time on that? You're right. Move on to the next one. How did that challenge you? Any of the obstacles, any of the lessons, how did that challenge you? Did you feel anything held you back from completing or achieving your projects? What have you been avoiding in your life or business in the last month? Okay. Okay, so we're moving through. Anybody need any extra time? You all right? I thought if we just kind of do this focused work, then we've got a chance to kind of feedback here and get it all done. Oh, let's be kind. What are you grateful for? Let's just start with that. Don't do the next one yet. Just think, first of all, what are you grateful for? And then what do you actually want to improve? Don't make it about yourself, because you don't need fixing. What about your processes? What about the things that are showing up right now? What actually goes, if I made a 1%, a bit like Atomic Habits, if I made a 1% change here, not revolutionary, just if I made a 1% change to certain areas of the way I do what I do, or the business, or how I'm doing what I do, how will that make a difference? What's one thing that seems really important to me? And then we're going to check in on that, because sometimes we think we need to do a bunch of stuff that actually doesn't need to be done. You might look and go, I'm going to need to learn how to have a conversation and sell. Don't know how yet, that's fine, but that's where I need to face things. It might be that I need to learn to delegate and outsource and take something on, or I need to be in a different room and a different network, whatever it is, or I need to take more time out for myself or the family, and that means my time's got to be different. What's one thing, just a 1% change? What would you like to improve? And I've got about 4 different areas, but I'm only looking for a 1% improvement in those. And we're going to come back to this, what you want to improve, when it comes to the goals. So maybe put a little star next to that, because that's going to help us look at how we make a better goal for ourselves, rather than just come up with the same old stuff. I need to be consistent on social media. That could have been on there for the last 5 years. It's a constant, it's not changing. We're going to come back to this bit.
Sorry, Abby's just messaged. It's the link problem again. She can't get into the...
Right, hang on a minute. Can we, let me just see, is she in the group?
She put it in WhatsApp.
Oh yes, you just classed me. Yes, okay, so give me a pause a minute. Let's just do a little pausette. Okay, so we're going to come back to this, what do you want to improve, next month, because after you've just kind of looked at those areas, we're going to, before we do that, just look back a minute over what you've written, and make sure by the time you've written that, what do you want to improve next month, it's actually congruent with what else you've written, that it's not just kind of some habit that's coming in and randomly off the cuff, as it were. So just take a second, and then I'm going to just come out of stop share a moment, and then we're going to kind of get a little bit of an overview, if you will. And anybody who wants to share what they've written or where they're going can do that, as it were, before we kind of go into the next little section. Okay, so feel free, unmute yourselves, and anything that you want to share, because the beauty that I've found with this is when people have shared, I've often written things down next to it going, oh yeah, that's so cool, that's totally right. Particularly when Claire shares things, actually. So whoever wants any part of that you want to share, then please do. You want to kind of like do a quick overview, as it were, if there's anything that particularly comes out for you around that, let me know. And then when it comes to the bit about what do you want to improve, I want to kind of keep my beady ears on that so that we can come back to it for you. So just let Abby in. Hey Abby, so sorry, the link, that's me cutting and pasting without thought. I should not, and Caroline will probably attest to this, I should probably not be in my business very much longer. Certainly not on the ad. Actually, if Claire remembers last time, I said I wanted to look at my admin. Well, you can see where that's going, can't you, really? So so I'm just going to quickly share for Abby. You might have your little workbook already printed out or not. If you haven't, that's fine. You have pieces of paper, and I will show you just very quickly while the others are sharing back, so you can kind of almost catch up a little bit before we go on to the next section.
Need to decompress.
That's fine. So you can so it's on here, and then you can read it. So if you look on the front of this or into here, the questions that we were looking at were: what have you achieved or completed in the last month? What key lessons have you learned? What obstacles came up that you hadn't foreseen? Because that's always, we make a plan and then life hits us. How did that challenge you? Did you feel anything held you back from completing or achieving projects? What have you been avoiding in your life or business in the last month? Nice and kind, what are you grateful for? And what do you want to improve next month? So those are the bits that people are going to share back on. And this is our Be Kind to Yourself section. So who wants to go first?
Go on, I'll go. So I'll whiz through. So what I've achieved and completed in the last month. So I got another client. I had 2 good meetings. I refocused my website, which has been on my to-do list for far too long. More focused messaging, and I've been more visible. What are the key lessons I've learned in the last month? That sounds weird to say it, but I actually am bloody good at what I do, and I just need to go out there and do it. It still feels weird to say it, by the way. And what I truly want from my business, and what success means to me. Were there any obstacles I hadn't foreseen? No, because I set goals and planned last month. What are my challenges generally? Staying focused, time management, organisation. See a theme coming there?
I've got that one on my list.
Right, keep going. We'll get to that section.
And funny enough, one that we covered in a call earlier, Angela, is actually asking for bloody business.
What are we here for?
Does Madam want that, please?
Asking for business.
Do I feel anything held me back from completing and achieving my project? Self-belief, focus and mindset still, but they're getting better. So if I was to say 1%, was it 1% better than last month? I'd actually say yes, it definitely is. I just wish that 1% would now become 5 or 10 and not just keep being ones. What have I been avoiding in my business, in my life the last month? The gym and self-care, which is dreadful for me. Anybody who knows me and knows that's really bad for me. What am I grateful for? My health. My bands are restarting next month. My support network and my pure bloody determination. What do I want to improve in my business next month? Planning my days and weeks better. asking for business in the right places to get more sales, and just having more of the right conversations.
See, just sharing from that, doesn't that already wake us up to some things at the same time, just listening to somebody else's, you know, which is amazing. Awesome. Flipping awesome. Who wants to go next? Go on, Claire.
So same as Caroline, I'll do a quick whistle stop, whatever. Whew, okay, so what have I achieved or completed in the last month? I've actually unplugged for the most of the last month, which is why you probably haven't seen me on the masterclass, which I normally, again, like this, is a non-negotiable. So my month started off unplugging. It started off with the camping trip and then half term. So actually, it was almost like, okay, I might as well just kind of carry on this unplugging. But I did deliver two, I was asked to be a guest speaker on two webinars, one for the CIPD in Essex, which was huge. I didn't realize how big that was. And that came from me, direct messaging, LinkedIn, went, right, who's the branch chair people of the CIPDs, LinkedIn search, connect. And then I literally messaged them all and offered them to have me speak at an event, basically, for free for them. And there's been a lot of stuff that's then come out of that, which has been amazing. I've had a coaching client renew. So she was really clear. She only wanted 2 months coaching to get her from A to B. And actually now she wants help with C, D, E, right the way to Z. So, and I didn't even ask. I didn't even say, right, this is a review. It was just, out of the 4 sessions we booked, she agreed that in session 2, she just went, I know I said 4 sessions, but just sign me up, send me the invoices. I was like, okay. I've refined and refocused. This unplugging, I deliberately has allowed me to do that. So I've really achieved and completed that, refined and refocused, but not just for the next month. I've got a clear vision now for my next 6 months. So I've gone now to the end of the year. Now we're going into July tomorrow. It's given me this, oh, halfway through the year. Oh, what does the next 90 days and then the next 90 days after that look like? Key lessons, what have I learned? Don't wait for your husband to intervene and tell you that you are falling. So this is how I came to be unplugging. He literally sat me down and literally called it an intervention and said, babe, you're falling. I can see that you're falling. And that was his language. He used that. And he just said, I'm doing this. I'm catching you now because, hey, you're a big girl. I don't want to carry you I don't want to catch you when you're going 90 miles an hour off a cliff edge. He didn't say that. I added that. But effectively, key lesson, don't wait for someone else to see stuff that you already see yourself and you ignore. Key lesson, I've got this analogy that I use about what's in my boat and how I'm going to get from where I am to my place, my island. The quickest way is in a really lightweight boat, you know, and not having all this shit in the boat because it's going to slow me down and not getting distracted and all the rest of it. And I, for some reason, have forgotten this. And I don't know why. And even, like I say, my husband, he would even say, babe, is that a networking event? Is it in your boat? And either he stopped like checking in with me, maybe. I don't know. I'm not blaming him. But I definitely, one of my lessons learned is that get back to my boat thinking. Is it in my boat? Is it in my boat? Is it going to help me get from where I am now to where I want to be without distraction as quickly and as straightforwardly as possible, rather than tugging a load of weight and shit behind me? I've also, a key lesson, just realized, I suppose, how important my mojo is. And when I'm in my zone and my mojo is fucking awesome, excuse my F word, I need to remember what that feels like for me, and also see what my audience get when I'm in that, because it's the most powerful like secret sauce that I've got. And the last bit is about being clear. So I talked last month about when you outsource to somebody, and whether it's social media, whether it's your website design, whatever you choose to outsource something to someone, never say, oh yeah, have free reign, it's blank canvas. It's not. It's never a blank canvas. It's never free reign. I have a view, an opinion, a brand, an image. Why on earth would I just go, yeah, do what you like? Hashtag be clear. Obstacles that came up that I hadn't foreseen. So I knew it was happening. So my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer in April. I didn't realize how quickly everything would progress in terms of, it's awesome, his treatment. So he had his prostate removed on Monday. So I didn't realize, I thought there'd be this huge waiting list and there'd be all this stuff waiting around. But actually, you know, I thought COVID was going to have this big problem, no waiting list, no problem, scans, all this kind of stuff, really positive. But it was an obstacle that, like I say, the speed of that, I thought I might have a bit more time to digest it and to kind of be like, okay, like what's going on with my dad? But equally awesome that he's like he's home recovering. I've just spoken to him, that's why I was a bit late as well. And then what came up with that is some old family shit, right? So, you know, this kind of stuff, highly emotional stuff, brings up stuff that other people, that it belongs to other people. And I've learned the hard way, it doesn't belong to me. So it's brought up an issue where my younger brother's decided, you know, I'm out, don't want to be in the family anymore for some reason. And we're all still kind of not working out what that is. But it's had an impact. I'd be lying if I'd say that it hasn't had an impact. How did that challenge me mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, energetically? That definitely had an impact. I'm feeling very helpless when it comes to my dad. He's like this big, strong hero of the family, and like to see and hear him, that was really tough. And it brought us some stuff about my mum who died 5 years ago, not from cancer, just like that, but it brought up a lot. So that was a challenge. Did I feel anything held me back? I think because I was unplugging, I'm not going to say it held me back because I made that conscious decision to unplug with the help of my husband. But certainly my mindset at times, there were a couple of little moments where I could have perhaps pushed myself a little bit, could have, you know, just gone into a different direction slightly, done it gently in line with my unplugging, but perhaps my mindset kind of didn't allow me to do that. What have I been avoiding? Well, I put here lots of things, hashtag unplugging. I've kind of been avoiding quite a lot of things in my personal and business life, but I've noticed that, for example, you know, follow-up is still an issue for me, and email. So, you know, I unplugged, but I delivered these 2 awesome webinars, and then I'm still now chasing, you know, oh, I need to email that person, or I haven't followed up. So a bit of avoidance, I think, there. What am I grateful for? NHS, obviously, my dad, obviously, Dan, obviously, my boy Archie, just his humor. He's turned 10 this month, and there's just little things that he comes out with. He's got this dry, sarky sense of humor. And yeah, I'm really grateful that they've been my steadying, like they've been my anchor for the last month. Really grateful for all the self-development work that I've done over the last 5 years, 6 years, because actually I can see my mindset is so different around stuff that I would have absolutely lost my shit over. And I would have left my business, left my marriage, left my life. Things with my brother, for example, I would have been just distraught about. I'm like, doesn't belong to me. I'm letting that go. I have no control over that. I have no idea what they're thinking. I can kind of let go. And I put here, finally, what I'm grateful for is my balls. My big, hairy, swinging balls. Because I am having sales conversations. I am making shit up on the spot. I'm having a conversation with a potential client and they go, and I go, oh, I click up on it. And I offer them 3 months coaching. They go, yeah, I love that. From a webinar. And I've gone, yeah, I do a webinar, a workshop, and then you can have, oh yeah, send me the proposal. So yeah, rediscovering my balls, maybe that should say. And what do I want to improve next month? Plugging back in effectively. I've been doing that slowly and gently. And a bit more diary time management. I turned my video off just now because I was basically eating my lunch. And I've done that every day this week. My lunch I've had at 4 or 5 o'clock. And it's been here, it's all prepped. You know, my husband's awesome, helped me keep on track of my dieting. But I literally was like, oh, I'm starving, I haven't eaten yet. And fun, more balls and more fun. I'll put down the stick now for everyone else to speak.
Oh, just everybody just sit in that energy just for about 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? To say that, you know, I know the journey, Claire and I know the journey that you've been on to get to this place. Personally, we know the journey. And it really does. I can't say how much it fills me up as much to see you succeeding, because I remember conversing with you and I just knew it. I was like, if we don't have an intervention in here, she will not have this business. And I had to get my own big hairy balls out at the time. And actually, just to see where you are now is it's kind of like it makes me realize, even when I was with Caroline earlier and we were mapping out the whole kind of marketing and the framework and where the people come from the Visible Club to the next level behind the Visible Club and beyond, etc., you know, all of that stuff is you're going to see for yourself as you journey through all of this business journey. Not all balls are hairy. Well, no, maybe not. But you're going to see for yourselves the reward. It's like, we do need to kind of learn how to sell and bring the money in. It pays for stuff. It keeps a business needs to be in profit. And I've had times when I've not been in profit for loads of different reasons. But ultimately, prosperity in a business and the rewards of being in business are seeing what has happened for you and for other people that you've worked with from actually doing it. So when you have to choose to, there's no other way to choose to actually, what I call like, face up to the choices that we all have in life, to not just have another gin and tonic, but to actually go forth, do you know what I mean, under the bridge, dear friends, as it were. You know, we have to and it's like when you see clients, when you see people and the reward of your work, you realize that actually the work was coming through you. It's not from you. The work that you do for other people, it's going to come through you. It's got, just say it, you know, it's divine, it's spiritual, it's coming through you to other people. But your and my personal thinking will get in the way and sabotage the good that you and I can do in this world. Your only job is to actually face up to that and walk through it. Your only job, because life will give you everything else you need. It will roll out every opportunity right out in front of you if you will just honor the gift that has been given to you, even if you don't know what it is yet.
Can I, before we move on, Claire, I'm actually going to say,
it's really moved me.
Claire, I was meeting you. I mean, I'd met you in the group, doing goal setting you with last month. That last bit of self-doubt I had in me, meeting you in your energy really helped me actually go, do you know what, Caroline, fucking get your shit together. You can bloody do this. And it was having goal setting with you and hearing what you've done and how you've done it, and how Angela's talked about you as an example to me, to suddenly put a person to the person that Angela had been talking about and go, I just went, do you know what? I want whatever she's on, I want a bit of it. And it really, and you, I will put you as one of my tick boxes of, and Angela will tell you, my shift has been in a month. It really has. My big shift has been this month, from where I shifted to then going, I said to Angela today, I want to sell more shit. And I actually said that to her today.
Right.
And meeting you last goal setting just put a fire in me. So thank you.
See that authentic journey, Claire? Do you know what I mean? We don't realise, you know, self-employed people don't show up. They isolate themselves. They worry in the corner. They don't show up. They don't do this. And yet actually when somebody moves themselves through and has the courage to share that, I can share that, but you'll see me as different because I'm the founder of this thing. But when you see it within each other, you will pick up that energy is tangible and it's portable, and you can borrow it. You can borrow the belief in the group. You can borrow it until you feel powerful enough to actually be able to speak it out of your own and see those results. You just need to take the next step. Right, I'm going to keep to time. Who wants to go next? Go on, Liz, and then go Liz, Michaela, and then if Abby wants to kind of say anything, then that's absolutely fine, but you don't have to. So go on, Liz.
Okay, what have I achieved this week, this month? I realised that I've been incredibly busy. So So starting with me, I started my own group to get back underway with doing my own business plan. And I've actually, inside that, I've started the group, which I intend to use to build authority and find out what people actually want, what they say. And in conversation with Caroline in one of the office hours, I can't remember which day, we sort of honed my message a bit more constructively. In Meeks, we held a whole pile of staff meetings to launch a VIP membership club card. And in the process of actually doing that, which was a good thing, which must carry on because we really need to improve communication in the company, I heard that a lot of the things that I've been doing and saying and the message that I've been honing together for Meeks is actually what my husband thinks, and that he actually thinks it because I did it. So, which to put into things that I'm grateful for, is like it really has made me feel much more confident in myself. Because basically somebody said, yes, you do know what you're talking about. Yes, you did do all the work. And yes, this is the message, and it came from you. And
Good validation, Liz, isn't it? Good.
oh yeah, a great big huge validation, which means that the obstacle I was having before we did the staff meeting which was basically confidence and imposter syndrome and things like that, have largely disappeared, apart from my constant feeling of overwhelm. But some of that is, that I can go forward with more confidence.
It's just a habit. We have a habit of thinking. It's just, that's it. That's all it is. So which bits we've got, anything that you held, but anything that you know that you haven't completed or that you want to improve?
Well, what I've got to improve is the email marketing. I have this plan is hanging over my head to get the proper email marketing going, and I just keep sliding off it, and that's a confidence issue because it's all new and I keep losing track of all the things, and I need to sit down really and talk to somebody who knows what I'm doing and believes in email marketing. Because if I have a conversation with my husband about it, he goes, oh no, don't send emails to anybody, they'll cancel us. But that's his story, and I've got to try and get past his story and carry
Is that
on.
one of the things you want to improve next month?
Yeah, but the other thing is I need to set key performance indicators, which I haven't done, which is another reason why I'm going blank to my email, is because I'm not looking at the email, the effectiveness of the email, and so really I need to just set something up.
Okay.
So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that I had the chance to get the meetings done, and I'm grateful that I'm in a lovely, comfortable situation. But next month I need to just document my processes and organize my workflow. So I'm not busy, faffing. I'm actually doing what needs to be done, and most of that is just.
I hear you, Liz, and I just want to acknowledge, and we'll move over to Michaela for time, just for time only, but I want to just acknowledge you even sitting here and saying that, you turning up to goal setting, you actually kind of saying, right, it's time to kind of just look at the things that I'm avoiding or the documenting of the process, and not see it as a slight on yourself, but realizing it's just part of that growth, so that you can, if that stuff gets automated, you've got time for the growing the other side of your business and the Facebook group, and I think it's a natural evolution for you, and I just want you to kind of just honor that and kind of just be grateful that that is almost like part of your growing process, and you're automatically doing it naturally. Naturally.
Yeah.
Michaela, anything you want to say?
Sure. I'm just gonna go through really quickly too.
Do it.
So I've already drawn 2 pictures of islands. When Claire mentioned island, she was going to an island, and it was just like, oh my God, I've been on my own island, isolating myself for so many years.
Yeah.
So I want to get off the fucking island. So anyways, what I've achieved, that was super hard. So some things out of my control. I completed the TCB with Jamie. I got clear on types of products that I want in the way of like smaller and the deeper. It was a revelation to me. I did a lot of starting things and I really didn't complete a lot. I did create a document to track some social media, but I think now in hindsight is probably busy work. I did coach someone. It was a peer coaching, someone who I'd never worked with before. And it was a confirmation of, I'm really good. And it was really easy because I was so connected. And that's the only time that I'm ever so connected with myself, is when I'm coaching someone. Celebrated my son's grad, getting some things ready because my daughter's going to need some summer schooling. The key lessons, focus is my key. Doing one thing at a time, do it, apply it, learn from it, and repeat it. It's obstacles, distraction. I've just been so distracted. I slipped in a 10-day course. I did get some great revelations. That's the idea of the shop. That's what came out of that. But I'm not following a plan. I'm not looking at my calendar. So I'm always flying by the seat of my pants, squeezing things in, chasing my tail. Challenge, just being unprepared and trying to squeeze stuff in, and then everyone around me pays for that too. Anything that held me back, the lack of focus, not trusting myself, fear, wanting to get it right, so the perfectionism, blaming others, searching outside of me for all the answers, crazy. What I've been avoiding is having conversations, voice to voice, being seen. So posting, sharing, helping, actually having conversations with people in my community. There's some people who was close to and I haven't talked to them in a year. It's ridiculous. Kind of avoiding robbing my kids too, and making offers. What I'm grateful for is this group. That was one thing, just like land and stay and just engage. So that was part of a little bit of more focus coming in. So happy to have this group and others who have been pointing me back to myself, and to say, stop taking courses. Really my family, Rob's generosity, his acceptance of my craziness. Oh,
Breathe. Breathe. It's good. It's all good. You have done something so huge in just choosing one group, and I'm really honored that you chose this group when there's so many gurus out there and there's so many other stuff that you could choose. So I feel really honored that, because I know that people would rather follow celebrity and sit in the shadow of celebrity than to build a fucking life and business that they actually want to live. So I'm hugely grateful for that. And Caroline will know that just listening to that has galvanized everything that we planned in the last 2 hours. I can't tell you how meaningful it is to be able to support you through that. It means the world to me.
I'm glad you joined. I really love getting to know you, by the way. I'm glad you joined. And
I've got a little bit of an idea, right? I'm going to throw a little bit of an idea out to help Michaela to feel this ability to actually bring some. But I know that the transformational coaching course that she has done and the transformational coaching that she does is exactly the same work that I did with Jamie Smart, that is very much a part of the work and the coaching that I do. And I would really, I'm going to put it out in the group, because I think one of the most important things is to become visible in the group, is that actually if somebody wants to experience transformational coaching, and I'm not talking NLP, I'm not talking anything else, if somebody wants to experience transformational coaching, or a set that will give Michaela an ability to kind of work out where she is and how she can kind of move forward, then I think it would be, you know, there are people here that would generally just would actually need that, and you can possibly get a good couple of testimonials through from this group that you can start to go out with and sell with. That was my idea, was like, use the group to actually get some testimonials. You will find that you niche along the way. Don't worry about niching. Help some people, get a testimonial, and then take it out into the world, and you'll start to get some traction with that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll do
So I'll throw this in very quickly,
that.
because I always share my shit too. Just so that you realise that, you know, there's no laptop lifestyle sitting in front of you here. What have I achieved or completed in the last month? I got support, this was very much a little about, I think sometimes Claire and I have goal setting from another mother, like we sit there like sisters from another mother on the goal setting sometimes. But one thing that I really realised, and it probably came into me only about 3 or 4 days ago, like a little bit of a change in the weather. You know, when you kind of just hear that change in the weather and you're like, I've got to make a change now. Dan did it for you. I'm sensitive enough bit by bit now to kind of go, I recognise it. It's almost like a change in energy for me. And I just recognised that I needed to continue to move forward, and I had to pull back massively to support Paul through hospital. We've had several hospital in the last 5 weeks. We've had, I think when we did goal setting last time, I was picking Ella up because Paul was in hospital, and Claire took that over. So we've had another hospital since then. It became increasingly aware to me that actually that part of my service was to my clients and to you, and there's a time and a place for that. And then part of my service needed to drop back, because am I ever going to regret holding my husband's hand the day that he leaves this earth, whether it be 3 months or hopefully 3 years? Can I build that? And I really do believe that I can build this business and do that at the same time. I do believe there has to be, you know, changes in there, but I do not believe that I need to contract myself and who I am as a human in order to actually be of service in all of the capacities. But it has to be really worked, and I'll show you how, some of the stuff that he's doing that. So I actually did something really, I came out of pretty much 80% of my networking, and I sat back a little bit, and because there was a load of stuff going on, and I kind of think sometimes it's like the breakdown before the breakthrough, really. I got dialed in hugely, even today actually, on the next level packages and the next level masterminds. There's two kind of mastermind levels that are coming up that will take me away from one-to-one work and actually support people at a better level through masterminds. And that actually has come even the last day. Key lessons. There's things that I need to take care of in my personal life, that around the sale of our flat and the things that I need to move forward, that I'm avoiding having certain conversations around or dealing with, because it's almost easy for me to work. It's my addiction of choice, you know. So I kind of looked at what I was putting off, and I just realised I need to move the needle forward on some things in my personal life that would just literally take some stuff off my RAM. Had some real obstacles because I've got to change my whole banking and my whole kind of stuff around there to bring in new shareholders into the business and a whole lot of stuff. And so there's lots of stuff for me around money and around that next level that have me freaking out, because at least as a self-employed person, I've been able to hide my shit behind the surface, you know. Now I can't anymore. So I wanted to kind of like stop the moving train on that one, but actually, you know, you're not going to. I wanted to realise that part of the month, some of the things that challenged me was I was still in that self-employed reactionary approach to things at times. So I love that bit about Claire and about being 6 months ahead, because I just thought there's areas of reaction in me, because there's no way that I'm not going to be in a situation where Paul's in hospital or things are going on. So it's not like it's going to come and bite me on the bum. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know when. I'll have to put things in place that works. And then finally, grateful, my God, you lot, you know, grateful. What did I put? Grateful actually for the new automatic car, because I keep lurching to try and change gear now that we've got an automatic Motability car. And I had this insight about change and how actually there's nothing wrong with automating things and making things easier, but my body is lurching to try and make it more difficult because that's my habit, right? I've got sort of changing sort of bank issues going on, loads of stuff going on around that. And I actually put here, I'll tell you what I'm grateful for, just keep bringing myself to the edge. Even if I kept backing off, I kept having to bring myself to the edge to go, you know what, you've got to face the choices in life to change and to move forward. So I'm grateful for turning the corner, incredibly grateful for Caroline, Anchor, the Visible Club. I've put here my ordinary life, because all I'm seeing out there in the marketplace is, you know, you clearly are not enough. You need to buy into this massive, great big guru's project where you're not going to get any personal, you're not going to get what you need most of the time for a lot of people unless it's proper skill acquisition. And I just thought, what is wrong with having an ordinary life and building a really good business? Why do I need to sit into the shadow of some lifestyle image that's on Facebook when actually I can just build a really good sodding business? So I'm really grateful for my ordinary life, and for actually building a really great team, and for actually starting the footings for a really secure business and facing the choices to keep coming back to my presence. Because actually, I tell you what, the only way to get to 6 and 7 figures is a team around you. Nothing else is going to get you there. And that becomes a point when that's going to be important to learn how to do. So what do I want to improve next month? Actually having planned proper meetings with my team, because I'm too reactionary and I'm used to it. And I just said, I have to not be a maverick in action, but still in spirit. And I have to rely on others and have those things in place that are non-negotiable in order to make that happen. That is mine. So before we move on into our proper goal setting, Abby, is there anything you wanted to bring in or share that you felt was like, that you've heard or was important for you in that behind ourselves section?
Wow. Wow. I should have, in the last 30 minutes, completed my workbook, but quite frankly, I've sat in the energy and I've listened intently to all your stories, and I'm like blown away. So I was literally just there with all of you, and so much resonated. So yeah, thank you so much. Next month I'll do my workbook beforehand.
No, we do it while we're here. Do you know what I mean? It's just that you come a bit late. So all they're sharing is what we've just done before you arrived here, because of course I didn't get the link right, which is another reason why I need to be out of the admin of my business. Right, okay. Let's move into the next section. So, I feel so full up. I feel like I've had a steak dinner with you all.
Angela, can I interrupt for just a second?
Of course you can.
I just feel this is important. Can I please share what I'm going to improve next month?
Did I forget to ask you?
No, I went into tears and then I couldn't get my words out. And then but I feel it's important. Is that okay?
Go on.
It'll be quick. Okay. So asking and actually paying for help with some tech things, some little things that keep getting in my way. And I think I can get it done with Upwork or Fiverr or one of those for fairly, or somewhere. Anyway, engaging in conversation. So being seen more, but not seeing like behind the screen, actually being voice to voice with someone. So whether it's a networking event or just reaching out to people who I've known, making offers and planning my time, getting off my island, following my daily planner. It's important because it's there, but I'm not using it, and taking time away, like totally away for thinking time, because I'm always learning, listening, reading, podcasting, and it's just like, just have some reflective time. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. I'm so sorry, I missed that bit. I do apologize. Okay. 2 things quickly is, I love learning, but learning from letting wisdom be your guide is the way to actually discern through whatever else you're learning on the outside as to which bits you need to apply in your life. And the more that you can exercise wisdom's role in your life, the easier it will be to make the right choices and to stay in that blinkered, in the nice kind of in your lane or in your boat, as Claire calls it. And when it comes to the tech stuff, then one of the office hours, etc., please reach out and tag Anchor in any of the questions in the Facebook group, or Laura, just tag them, because when it comes to your tech, first of all, we have it here. And one of the things that Anka and I are already introducing into the new platform in a couple of weeks is the fact that she has like a little tech membership, as it were, that she is bringing in and adding in as a complete freebie, and which you can actually join into her tech stuff. So we have you covered with tech, as it were. And if you needed to pay for something and outsource it, she will help you choose what that is. So you're not just abdicating it, but you're actually knowing what you need to be doing. So tag Laura, tag Anka, and they will help you make the right choices as far as that's concerned. Okay. Now, I don't need you to write down in here, obviously, or share what you're doing with your revenue, etc., or your business or your net. You might not have that here, but what I want you to do is you kind of know where you are with your finances, as it were. So just write in there, what's one thing that you want to improve next month around that? It could be a money thing, it could be the way you account it could be something. And then just away from here, just go into this when you're away from here, and then just fill in those things, because sometimes when you look at them, just seeing it on paper rather than just holding it in your head is so important. You can try to make better decisions. But what's one thing that you want to improve around it? Okay. We're going to go on to the section of your work, and then we'll just come back at the end and feedback. So we're going to be fairly quick with this little section. I want to get into the chunking bit and the actual meat to the bones now, and the kind that doesn't lead to excuses with ourselves. So just kind of think very briefly, because without thinking too deeply, what aspect of your work do you love and is working well? Like, where's the kind of juice, as it were, And if you're not sure yet, that's fine, but put what you know that you love to do, and then try it out, and then see if it's working next time. What aspects aren't working well or is not generating any results? Like, what things are you doing that are not actually generating any results? If you take those things together, what one idea is coming to you now to make a small shift in a better direction? And I look at this as not trying to do too much, but point the compass in a new direction, and let's just see what kind of starts to come out that. Just point the compass, and what's the first little move in that new direction? And looking at that, what's really going to move your business forward just this month? I think 30 days, because if you just think 30 days, you don't over egg the pudding, as it were. Just 30 days. What's one aspect that if you actually point the compass in that direction, is going to move things forward? Okay. Again, this is a bit of a numbers thing, and I never used to like these things, and I don't hold them as anything in as importance, as it were. Is in your own time, you're going to kind of go and have a look at where your email subscribers are, because you'll be able to just see, is it incrementally changing? Is there an area that you haven't focused on? It might even not be relevant. So you've got your number of followers, and it's not so that you can kind of look and go, oh, I need more, oh, aren't I amazing, or whatever. It's to kind of look and go, am I actually on the right platforms? First of all, am I growing those right platforms? Is it important to me? And why am I actually trying to grow every platform right now? It's just a way of measuring, so you can kind of look on the outside. So at that little bottom bit, I want you to just look at this little bit here. These are the bits you're going to fill in just, afterwards. And again, if you turn up 3-4 months down the road and you haven't filled them in, that's okay, but it's interesting to look at. But look at this little bit. Did you follow up with potential opportunities? Just a yes or a no. Okay. Did you follow up? Okay. And if you know that you've done some but not as many, or no, which opportunities are you, just 1 or 2 opportunities, which is the next one that you're going to revisit, and any past clients or even people that said no to you that you can revisit and have another conversation. There's one thing I can guarantee in the last year, that every human being is not in the same place as they were before the pandemic. So everybody has made changes. So is there anybody that you can kind of think of that's coming to mind right now, or any opportunities that you just think, you know what, I think I really need to revisit those and reconnect with those people? It's always easier to reconnect with a warmer audience than a cold one. Okay, let's set some goals. You've only got 30 days, so let's not climb Mount Everest. What's your main focus this month? And when you've got that main focus, what 3 goals will you work on or complete that are relating to that focus? An easy also way is to look back and go, what did I say I wanted to improve? Let's make sure I'm really truthfully dialing into that. What did I say I want to improve? And is that main focus and those 3 initial goals actually going to lead me in the direction that I say I want to go? That all that makes sense. So just take a little bit of time to kind of go, Okay. So we're going to kind of do these, and then we're going to look at whether we've actually, in a moment, we're going to kind of finish these little bits up, and then we're going to look at these goals in a minute and start to sort of chunk them a bit. So these are just still the overarching things here. What seems, if you look at your biggest kind of thing, and I've just actually, when I looked back at what I wanted to improve, it's actually helped me to set a slightly better version of those goals than I possibly would have if I'm just thinking in my mind. Is in this next bit, what's the best and the simplest strategy to use? Now, you might change that, okay? Sometimes we think we need to do a whole lot, but just put down what it looks like when you look at those goals and stuff and go, what actually looks the best and the most simplest strategy to use? Like, and then we're going to question it, because even when I was working with Anchor this month to actually put the levels together in the new success path in the new kind of portal, I had really written down a whole load of chunking things that I honestly thought needed to be done. And then Anchor came along and kind of just went, none of that actually needs to be done. And I'd just got in my mind how much I thought needed to happen, and it didn't. So what seems to be the best and the simplest strategy to use, and we can test that in a minute. What tasks need to happen for you to complete, you know, each goal, and we're going to kind of get into that in a minute a little bit. And if you've got on the back of that page or another piece of paper, we're going to do it. So let's look for this for each goal at the moment. Give yourself some time, because and you've got a little notes section there. But for each goal, right, what kind of looks like could be the thing that's going to move the needle the most on each goal. So just take those 3 questions for each of your 3 kind of goals.
I've got a visitor.
You are?
I've got a visitor.
Oh,
Daughter has come into
oh.
what I was doing.
So we'll come back to those things in a minute, and anything you need to chunk down, keeping it nice and simple. Cash flow and customers. So let's just take that time for a moment to look at your cash flow and your customers. How much do you, looking at those goals, looking at where your stuff is, if you're not sure, just, you know, and if you need to make it easy like breathing, how much do you want to generate this month? What do you think at the moment, whether you know or not, because that could be refined in our office hours and all sorts, is what do you have to do to ensure that happens? I think some of you have already said some of the stuff, you know it, we've said it in the first half. And what's one thing that you're going to do around your diary, scheduling your time for the month ahead that's going to ensure that happens? Okay. We're going to kind of, this little bit around kind of content planning or the marketing, etc., around this and the tactics. We're going to come back to this in a moment, but we're just going to take a breather and we're going to come back to this little section here. And if anybody wants to kind of just share where they are in the goals before we look at any of the content planning or any of the other bits of marketing around that, let's just make sure that we're setting the right goal and that we've actually got just the right things that we need in place to do that. Okay, make sure that we're not doing what were the 3 questions to apply to goals? Are you okay now? Because I couldn't see the chat, I was just busy doing the goals, you know. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to share first how I've kind of looked at mine, because as I've kind of come to the question based on what I said I wanted to move forward, there's been a couple of things, and actually Caroline's going to just laugh her socks off as to what we've just discussed, actually. But it's beautiful because it just came to almost like 1 or 2 key things, and then you can kind of look out underneath it. So when I looked at my bit, if I go right the way back to sort of finance bit at the first, like what was one thing that's going to improve my finances this month? Well, we got a whole new kind of business structure going in. So actually, my actual overall focus for the month is sales, because we've got a challenge coming up and I've got a new mastermind I want to speak to people about. So although my overarching things is sales, the financial thing that I know is actually getting the whole things structured financially so that it can work, it can be tracked, etc. So I looked at my work. What aspect do I really love and is working well? Facilitating group stuff. You know, I just flipping love it. Love getting a group of people together. So that made perfect sense with one of my goals. Is like it's all kind of going in that direction. So what aspects weren't working or is not generating results? I've moved out of my B&I group, just too much focus. But before I actually move out, I want to make sure I've got all of the contacts that I want in there before I leave in the next couple of weeks, so that I've got contacts who I actually need. But it was a case of what's actually not, in order for me to move forward somewhere else, there's only 24 hours a day. What has to change? I can't add more to the plate, you know? So what wasn't working? Me trying to do quick fix admin uploading. We'll leave that one, because I'm like, what's not working? Me going, just because I can doesn't mean I should. So I was like, sorry, everybody, this is late being uploaded because I shouldn't be the one doing it. So because I'm doing quick fix admin uploading, because it feels that it's quick and easy and on my desktop, therefore I didn't have enough sales conversations at the right level, because I haven't automated the lower end. So it starts to kind of show there's a kind of fly in the ointment, that if I don't let go of one thing, I can't actually make room for something else. Well, it might be that I don't want to make room for the new thing because that's my new level. What one idea is coming to me right now to make a small shift was, the thing was like, I'm going to dedicate one whole day a week to sales conversations and selling. Everything else has to move around that. Now, I used to network on a Thursday. And so somewhere between like maybe either than the Tuesday or the Thursday, or whatever it is, there's going to be a day that's dedicated to sales conversations and actually reaching out and having and prospecting in for the things that I'm wanting to bring in front. And it's just, that's all I'm doing in the day. And so one aspect will move my business forward. Launching. It's getting boring, isn't it? Sales conversations, it's starting to get boring. So anything that I wanted to follow up on audience and visibility, really identifying who are the actual avatars and the clients for the next level things that I've got. And so I looked at, setting my goals. What's my main focus this month? Sales, okay? Both from the Visible Club and the Visible Club Rapid Growth Academy, which is launching for those who want to fast track a consistent sales process. So the 3 goals then that I wanted to work on to complete are, I knew it was around, I just was setting up the new business banking, the systems and the new financial accounting practice, okay? Second goal, because I knew that has to be done. Second bit was delegating the admin via my team meetings, and to have targeted KPIs and job descriptions for people, so that actually they can see everybody can see what they're supposed to be doing. And 3 is time with family to unplug with friends. Okay. And so when I actually looked at it and I looked back and it said, and actually it was in my, what do I want to improve this month? I actually put, I want to rely on others more. I've got to rely on others more, even more right now. And so I just thought, what is my best and simplest strategy to use? Rely on others more. So let's break that down, okay? Number 1 was, I looked at the separate stuff and the accounting and the business practice, and I just stopped and I thought, okay, if my thing is about relying on others more to kind of help create this strategy, what about if I speak to my accountant and ask if they can actually look at how they can report the accounting to me on a weekly basis, so that I can actually see what's going on in the accounting, rather than me going, I'll put a spreadsheet together, I'll sit there and do it. I won't. I can't stand the things. I won't do it. So I'm relying on others to increase my sales. So can you see it's like where I'm dialing this back to, as it were, rather than just trying to come back to my old habit. Second thing was, in the second goal, was around, I need to be free to sell at the higher end, because anybody that's going to come into my mastermind programs are going to be one-to-one sales conversations at the high end. Nobody's coming in at the lower end without a sales conversation. That's not going to happen. It's a considered purchase. So I need to have regular weekly team meetings to know exactly where everybody is with their KPIs, so that I can then not interfere with everybody else's job because they're better than me, so that I can actually be free to sell and do the things that I'm really, really good at. And then the third one was, okay, so how am I going to get more time with family with this is, well, if the KPIs are in place through the team meeting and I'm actually time blocking and I'm accountable to other people now, and I can't just kind of hide out my own shit in the corner, then actually I can actually step back. And when my husband is telling me, and actually part of it is like actually honouring the fact that when somebody is telling me, a bit like you, Claire, like I really appreciated that when somebody's telling me, not just to kind of brush that off and go, well, I'll just finish this first, is to actually go, no, you know, they're telling me for a reason and I need to just do that. And I need to kind of, and if I'm not coordinated, then all I'm doing is sabotaging the next level of anything going forward. So when that broke down into tasks, it broke down into kind of 3 or 4 really simple tasks. What tasks need to happen to complete each of these goals? You don't want too many in there unless you need odd little processes. So it was speak to my accountants about the reporting tools. Number 2, set up the new business bank account. Number 3, take a morning out to actually replan my own personal finances to how that's going to happen and where that new change is going to happen. So the next bit was, okay, set up the weekly team meetings. So it's going to be behind that is find out where they are, when we're going to have them, write out roles and job descriptions for people, set targets. And then 4, that means then I'm free to sell. So I've got to set my KPI targets about how many people I want to actually contact each day so that I can actually go, well, I can't know the outcome, but I can actually control how much that I'm actually speaking to people or reaching out to get to that outcome. And then actually, as part of that team meeting, then I can review, because if I'm accountable to them as to whether I'm having the sales conversations, I can't hide my shit in the corner. And then the last one is to change my calendar so that people have access to my calendar, so that I can't sneak in things that shouldn't be in there. And if I'm going over time, they have my permission to tell me what the bloody hell are you doing, and have planned hours and planned time off. And that is really hurting the maverick in me that does not want to do any of that. Make sense?
Is this where I chirp in and go, sorry, not sorry?
Sorry, not sorry. And that's why. So I looked and go, when does this need to be completed? I mean, it's that easy, right? Okay. When does this be completed? Me taking time off with family, chuck it daily. When does the team meeting stuff need to be completed? Within 2 weeks, we need to have that in place. When does the business stuff need to be to do? 1 week. So it starts to become really, really simple. So then when I looked at my cash flow and I looked at then, now I can set my financial goal. Now I can actually look and go, well, what has to ensure to happen? Okay, well, I need to, sales conversations are going to have to be set up. And then the sales presentation for the new thing. So I'm looking at my stuff and then the KPIs around that. And then scheduling the time is actually just making sure that the accountability is there now and the meetings are there, that I have to show up. There is no getting away from this. I can't hide behind this anymore. So I've made, and that's where accountability, we kind of need it. We don't want it. The reason we don't want it is because it kind of brings up everything that's not working. But I just chose this month to go, I care about growing the group. I care about the results. I care about making the change. I care more about that than I care about my own excuses for it anymore. I've just gone to that point now. And so anybody want to share about their goals, and then we'll have a little view around what type of content, and it's only really a dalliance to it because it's not a proper content plan behind it, but it's a kind of go, where are you kind of putting the focus from this point in your content or in the kind of marketing or how you're showing up with your messaging wherever you go. So anybody want to share anything around their goals that they think they might be either putting too many in, or they're not sure where they're going with their goals? Let's just kind of throw that out there so we can help you get clear.
I struggled with this, really struggled with this. And because of the fact of, I think some of it's because my shift has only massively come this week, and it's suddenly like, so I know what I want to do. And I think all the crap that I'm putting behind it is bollocks and it's wrong. So I'm going to be openly honest.
So what was your, let's have a look then. What's your main focus this month?
So my main focus is getting visible with the right people, the right message, and having the right conversations.
Okay, so your main focus is not visibility. Your main focus is sales.
Yeah, I suppose.
Right.
I put a posh way of saying sales.
So it's not that you have to say something different, like your main focus is sales, okay? So 3 goals to work on that is, one of those was obviously, it's almost like you said, okay, visibility, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so you look and go, visibility, this is in your control, okay? So it's kind of like, well, if you know, if you've already got, you've already got your kind of, you know who your client is and who you're going after. So your goal then could be around visibility. It's kind of like,
I put one of the things is I realized in all of this is I am not in my circle. They're not in there. I'm surrounded by completely the wrong people. So one of my goals is, for starters, is actually do what I keep telling other people to do. Strip the shit out of my LinkedIn and actually stop being scared to invite the right people and have the right conversations in my LinkedIn to warm them up.
so there we go. That's a conversation. That's a message with Claire, isn't it? Who actually was put in there. She's like going, I've just invited myself. I've gone and contacted these people.
It was what Claire said. It was like, they're in there. I just need to stop being scared to say, can I have a chat with you? Because I can actually bloody help them.
Well, we're waiting. We're doing this bit. I don't know who said it. Maybe it was you. It's like, I can't remember who said it to me. Was actually, no, it was somebody I had a conversation with. And she said, when I first started my business, she said, I know I was naive now, but I went out and I started my business and I was going like, hello, I'm here. And she said, I'm not joking. I was waiting for people to kind of go, I kind of got visible, because people don't think they've got a visibility problem. They go and show up to network. They show up somewhere. And she said, I was like, okay, I'll just wait for the door to knock.
It's a common problem. I did it.
This idea of knocking the door, because who wants to be a double glazing salesman? Do you know what I mean? So we've got this idea that knocking is a horrible thing to do, and the only thing that's going to come back is painful rejection. Well, not if you're actually knocking the right, knocking somebody's door that you actually want to open. So, and even then there's going to be some rejection. So we learn how to position ourselves. It's positioning. So I love that. So you probably, one of your goals is to really start to look at LinkedIn, only look at LinkedIn for your visibility, like take 30 days and stay out of everything else. Don't go to, what if you didn't go to another networking meeting for 30 days and you did withdrawal symptoms and you only focused on LinkedIn?
Oh, to be fair, the one I go to, I quite happily not show up to.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why don't you just give yourself an experiment for 30 days, a bit of a challenge. Do you know what I mean? And change it around a bit. Don't try and add more onto it. Shift it. So you just have to think, yours is sales. What's going to lead to those sales? Sales conversations, connecting with the right kind of people on the platform that they're at. And looking at, is there another way, and you might be open to it, is there another way that that would kind of lead to that? It could be that you offer, like Claire did, to speak to the CIPD. There might be something, or you write for trade press, or you do something that just gets you in front of something else, but you kind of have a bit more blue sky thinking about it rather than just have to.
Yeah, I like working on LinkedIn. That one's simple. LinkedIn is actually something I enjoy. LinkedIn is something as I said to you, I train people on LinkedIn. I'm just being really crap at doing it myself in my own bloody business.
Yeah, well, exactly. So just stay out of everything else. Does that make sense? Like, just cut it right down. You've only got 30 days. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that comes up through the month, but you've only got 30 days. So where's going to hit the focus?
That's easy, because my second goal is more structured days. Structure my days better, because then I will easily cut all the crap out, because I've got clients to serve, I've got business to grow, and I don't have time to add all this extra crap in.
No, just take it out.
So yes, my second goal is more structured days rather than waking up and winging it.
Okay.
Because I'll get more shit done. And I haven't got a goal 3.
Well, just hold on to that, because you don't have to. Oh, lovely, look at you. So let's just whip round, because I'm conscious of time. Is there anything around your goals that you just go, I don't know if I'm sticking something down that's a bit foggy, or that's really dialed in, or actually I've suddenly seen the light? I've got Liz, do you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say that at the moment, my main goal is that I created this group, and my main goal is to get this group up and running.
Right.
So that I know, and I think one of the things that came out from me with discussing is I really need to hone my message in my offer, so I know what I'm talking about to them in this group.
How many people are in your group?
At the moment, it's only about 12, so it's not a very big group. So what I want to do is build the group.
Right.
That's
So
what I'm
here's
doing.
where this is perfect, Liz, right? So can I just dive in here and say, with only a group of 12, here is where you can just cut down a lot of this work about, I need to hone my offer for a group of 12. You don't need to do anything in terms of like what I call offering out as in a mass thing to a group of 12. What you do with a group of 12 is you go, I'm so great to have you here. Have you got 30 minutes? Like, you know, I know you're busy, but if you can put 2 hours of your day aside and say, have you got 15 to 20 minutes free this, you know, on this day? It's really quick. I just want to I'm really grateful for you to be in the group. Would you mind if I ask you some questions? Because I'm looking to actually make sure I've got the right sort of stuff that's coming into the group that's helpful. And what would be really brilliant is if I could ask you some questions to make sure that I'm actually bringing the right kind of information to you.
Yeah.
So this is where you call your 12 people up, say, can I have a quick WhatsApp message? Can I have a quick Facebook, you know, messenger, whatever it is, your telephone number, 15 to 20 minutes with every single person in that group. Because when you speak to them and you say, talk to me, what are you trying to do with your business? Where's your biggest challenge? What are you trying to achieve this month, right? Every single one of those 12 will already tell you what they want you to talk about in that group and where their challenges are. You might find there's one overarching problem, you might find that there's a theme, but what they will really appreciate from you is the personal contact. And that's what everybody avoids doing at the start of their business. They're trying to go from one to many, and they have not even sold one-to-one, right? That's not to say that you have to always sell one-to-one and not go for one to many. But here's the deal, is you're not a volume business if you are a service-based business. So it's talking to people. People go, I can't go and speak to these people. No, we established with Michaela that she might not be in the right, might not have all of the right people in a group, you know, but you have got the right people in your group, okay, so far, hopefully. So even if you haven't,
I think most of them are. I think one.
Right. So get on the phone and arrange 12. If you had, like, you know, over a couple of days, 12 very short 15 to 20 minute conversations, and you just ask them those avatar questions. You won't have to sit there trying to do an avatar in a jar. You will have real people's version of what they're dealing with, and they will feel super connected to you for doing that. Serve the people that are in your group this month, period.
All right, lovely.
Okay. That's where you're going to find your information, not from just kind of playing around on a piece of paper. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to find it there. Is that helpful? Because I'm quite direct with that, because it's kind of like, that's the biggest mistake from people. They're not actually engaged, and they're not getting over the fear of having conversations. Okay. So I know that that's important to you.
Yeah. But the other thing is, I mean, I still need to, that group is going to be, I'm using that group to build authority as well. So there still has, if I want to get people into it, I still need to have something going on in the group. Right,
but listen, if you haven't spoken to them, you don't know what to put in. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, do not put a house on Park Lane until you've spoken to 12 people in your Facebook group.
Okay.
Can you see, it's like Abby's like nodding. It's like, we'll do anything else other than that, because we think social media is just about putting stuff out. No, your job is to use social media, to get them off social media, to have a conversation with you.
Well, you'd be delighted to know I've already organised to actually have a conversation with Roderick.
Good. Thank you. Brilliant. Awesome. I'm just whipping around. Is there anything in there for time that anybody's going? I'm not quite sure. Abby, Michaela, Claire, go on.
Hi. Well, really, it's kind of the same thing. Money in the door, sales will be great, but I'm still, last month, it was supposed to be all about being visible. I didn't do a great job of that. So I still have this sort of thought that, how can I just sell to people if they don't really know me yet? I haven't been seen. They don't even know what I'm doing. So, and just quickly on that, with what you were talking to Liz about, it's like, okay, shit. So there are a few people in my group who are the right people, and they have told me what they want, or at least some of it. And I haven't really, I mean, I addressed some of it, but it's one of those things where I don't know how to kind of spread the content out over, you know what I mean? Like I did a
I
talk
don't
on
think you
anxiety
need
because she wanted a,
Right.
that?
I don't think you need content, right? If you've already spoken to a couple of people and they've already expressed the desire to kind of almost like intimate that there's something they want, and you've got a bit of an idea around this particularly, okay? Here's where I think that would help you focus your sales, okay? And I think what's going on is that we kind of move towards visibility when we're not sure what our actual products and programs are. Because here's the deal, here's what I want you to write it down, and I've said it all the time today, I've said it several times, right, today, to a few people. You can't sell what you can't see. You can't sell what you can't see. Now, we're not selling shoes like Liz, so people can't walk in and see your shoes, right? So you can't sell shoes. So what you've got to, you're selling a service and it's intangible. So we've got to create like a couple of different offers. And I suggest you have maybe like 3 offers. And one of the things is that there's an amazing lady at one point, I think, and she's quite a high-end sort of coach. So I'm trying to kind of nab her, as it were, for a masterclass. Her name's Jenny Shee. And she actually helps service-based professors. And she says one of the things that she gets people that's service-based to do is not all this one-to-many passive income stuff to start with, is start off with like an hour, like where they get a result within an hour, or a kind of situation where you can move them through and map something out within an hour. Or, do you know what I mean? And it's like $100 or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like an easy yes for somebody to test you out. It's like, even if we go to the deli counter, we want to have a little slice of cheese. If we're looking at different cheeses, we want to have a little taste of something that gives us a feel. So here's what I would perhaps kind of map out with those people. If you already have spoken to them, as you have, you know what they want, is think to yourself backwards. The ultimate, like in just an easy 3-step process for you. If you were to work with somebody one-to-one and get them what I call like a full result, you might go, that might be a 3-month process. I want to work with somebody. It might be a full day. It might be a 6-month process, etc. But if somebody worked with you, if you look at them and go, how long would it really take for me to help them get from A to B? And what I call is no longer, you know what I mean? Because people don't necessarily pay more to take longer to get the results, okay? It's like if you're having a tooth extraction, my mentor said to me, if you're having a tooth extraction, you don't want him, he might be charging you $1,000 to get a tooth extraction. You don't want him to look at you and say, shall we just eke this out over a couple of months just to make it seem valuable to you? You're like, no, just get the blooming thing out, okay? So maybe look and go, if somebody worked with you and got a longer term result, maybe over say a 12-week period, what would you map into that for them? Where would you take them? Map it all out a little bit, okay? And I know with the transformational conversation, it's kind of not like that, but still you want a package of sessions. Does that make sense? Rather than you want the option to have maybe a day with you or a 12-week with you, or even initially say an hour with you to get, you know, to look at one specific area. But and then at some point we'll get something free, but not yet, okay? So if you already know if you look at what they want, you go, well, what could I actually guarantee to do within an hour with people? What could I guarantee at the end of a day that we could do with somebody? And if I worked with somebody for 12 weeks, where could we potentially take somebody possibly within that? And you know, from even the stuff that you've done. So actually what's going to help you to sell easier is not to think about your visibility, because it's a bit of a mistake, because you don't know what you're selling. So you'll get back on the roundabout because you go, oh, I don't know what I'm going to sell. But if you can just map out a 12-week program, maybe a day with somebody or an hour session, and then you can say to somebody, look, I've got a couple of different opportunities here, and I just want to check if you'd be interested in having a conversation around that. I've got an hour session where I'm looking at something specific with somebody, or if not an hour, it's like do something else, or whatever it is, a day session or a 12-week session, as it were. Don't tell them what it is, just say, it depends on where you want to take yourself. Would you be interested in me sharing that about, you've already shared you want to get this result. I think I've got something that could take you there. Would you be open to a conversation? And just say that. Does that make sense? You need to actually map out a couple of different routes that you could take people down now, and that will help you to sell something, because you can see it, you can tangibly believe in it, and then you can, if somebody says yes or no, you can ask them at the end of it, just say, well, look, just for my benefit, why is it a no?
Mhm.
Did I not convey the value? Because you're going to have to learn to sell it, if that makes sense, and learn to communicate the value. And that's all right. It's going to take time.
Yes.
And you might sell it straight off the bat and they go, yeah, let me have an hour with you. Brilliant.
Mm.
Money in the bank. There's nothing like your first bit of money in the bank to kind of give you that confidence to start the next bit of it. So make it light and easy, and map out something that you think these people would genuinely get them a result if they worked with you for an hour a day or a 12-week. And use the group and the office hours to kind of test that out if you want to, and we'll help you with that. And then invite them for a conversation.
All right, great.
All
Thank you so
right.
much. That was
My
helpful. I
pleasure.
need to re-listen to a lot of this. So
Yeah, but no, that's what I hear. It's like not to
Okay.
use the wrong thing to try add more of the wrong thing to get the result. Do you know what I mean? Make it simple. You need a package now because you've got nothing to sell. You can't see what you're selling to them otherwise.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Don't
Thank you.
believe it. Even with a
Appreciate that.
transformative conversation, they still want to get to A to B. You've got to learn to describe it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. I have another appointment.
That's
See you
okay. I
all.
know where
Thank
we
you
are. So
much.
Claire and Abby, is there anything you want to kind of add in?
I think I was pretty much where Michaela was before. I didn't really have a product. Wasn't entirely sure, so I can understand how hard that is. I am basically, for my goals, getting everything set up, because I think I'm going to give it another 2 weeks before I get my Gallup license, and I am going to market the hell out of that, being the first Gallup Clifton strength-based coach in Wales. Independent one. I'm sure there are others within organisations, as Claire, I'm sure you know. So I'm going to do that. But then before that, just make sure that my social media is cleaned up a little bit, and that my landing page on my website and the calendar and all that kind of good stuff. So it almost feels like a launch for me, and something I can hang my hat on.
Yeah.
And I have wanted that for ages, and I know it's really hard to have a particular launch, but yeah, I think tangible.
Create a bit of buzz around it, I think, and actually it kind of just feeds in, Abby, and actually it helps me just to kind of throw in this last little bit, and I can do it from your goal things here, and just kind of show people, give you this little bit is where you can kind of map out from here. Because I think what you want to do is create a little bit of buzz, talk about it everywhere you go. So, when you're kind of, this is the things that I want you to answer about what your product is. Okay. So this is going to help you get this across. So when it comes to the Strengths Finder and all of that, and I've done one, I love it, I think it's brilliant. But what I want you to look is, this one here, who else is speaking on the topic? You've got disc profilers, you've got insights, you've got the lot.
Yeah, and there's a really great comparison there for Gallup. So I know how to do that. But where I really, because look, I wanted to go down the corporate route, and there's nothing to stop me doing that in the future. But there is a lot of people talking about engagement and, team performance, blah, 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 which is fine. I can do that. But it's education. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm really fired up about doing strength-based movement and coaching, for whether it's for the children, for the teachers to use it to teach. There's so much there. So again, a bit like Liz, also Michaela as well, about finding the people to talk to and just ask questions.
Here we go. So who it is you want then is like, have some conversations, just set a few. It doesn't matter if it's the local school that your kids go to or something, or anybody else's. Parents.
Yeah.
And just the same thing, 15 to 20 minutes. And what you want to look at is, tell me like what you struggle with around this area or that area. Don't go into coaching. Here's one of the biggest problems. Don't go into coaching.
Information.
You want information because, and write down exactly what they say, anything that they're talking about. And maybe just set yourself a KPI, like you're going to try and talk to 5 people a week in the next week or something. You only need a sample. It's like a biscuit. Do you know what I mean? Like you just need a sample. And then when you've got a couple of bits of information, you want to kind of go, well, why this project for them? Why them people? Why you? Why now?
Yeah.
Right. Who else is speaking on the topic to them? Like who else, where else are they looking for help on the topic? Yeah.
It's going to be tough because I think there's going to be a little bit of education that's needed as well to teach people why, but it's coming.
Yeah, listen, you can't do that yet. You've got to set up about I don't know, 10, 20 conversations with these
Abby,
people.
I've actually got in my network, because she did her coaching with me, I've got a friend who is an ex-teacher, as a deputy head teacher, who's gone out to be a coach to teachers. So she's probably a very good person to speak to.
It's a really good, I know it's coming, and I hear it's going to be something about this, you know, positive psychology and strength-based development is something that, you know, is being looked at. So that's when I want to concentrate on. But the other thing that has come naturally is other coaches who are very specialized, and they want to do it as an add-on for theirs. So not that I coach their client, but as an add-on where it's like, okay, it's a team, let's just do this. We've got language to talk about from the coach or the delivery to their client, and that they can kind of push the needle a little bit easier.
So that's a different avatar. Does that make sense? Like that's a different
totally
avatar.
different.
So what I would like you to do, think about 30 days, right? You're about to launch. Right? So I want you to, that's all right. You've got to launch, right? So I know that there's lots of applications to this, okay? But if you had to choose one avenue, one market, one niche, just for 30 days where you got your information for your education marketing, dial into one niche only for 30 days. Nobody's going to die if you wait another 30 days and you put coaches and avatars for coaches onto your goal setting list. But I really feel that you would be in danger of almost diluting your message and flinging yourself out without actually dialing in and just having those conversations. So take this last bit where it's around the tactics and stuff on here, and use this as your way of kind of even asking some of the questions. And actually in the group, in one of the files section or somewhere, we'll find it. Caroline's put an avatar thing. I've got an avatar thing that we can put up. You don't want to kind of what I call, we're not interrogating them like the police or anything, but what you want is like, do you know, what's your biggest problem? What's going to help you in this? What have you tried so far that's worked? What have you tried so far that hasn't worked? Where are you looking for your answers? But I just want you is like, here's what's going to help you market this. I promise you I'm not leading you astray here, okay? And I'm not clipping your wings. It's just that dial into one thing for 30 days.
I totally get that. That's what I want to do. It's just that this has happened. This is happening naturally on its own course, where, you know, I have contacts and friends, and, you know, they've asked me, and it's like, oh yeah, let's just do that. So it's just something.
Are they going to pay you? Like, in other words, is that a thing that they're paying you to do already? Okay, fine. Do you mean like
they'll pay for that, for the report, and just basically a translation of that and how they can.
Well, that might become your niche, do you mean? But I'm just saying, it's like, even if you swapped it and you went, okay, for 30 days, I'm going to sell this stuff to people, right? To the coaches and consultants that want it, but it's just whichever one it is, whether it's the parents and the teachers or whether it's the coaches, you're fine. Whether it's the parents, the teachers or the coaches, just focus on one for 30 days.
Yeah, the one that's going to give me some money.
Seriously, honest to God, yeah. It's as simple as that. The one that's going to give you, the one that's presenting itself to give you money right now, then do it. Because this is what my old sales mentor said to me. She said, I never wanted to be a cold call trainer in the UK. She's now a multi-millionaire sort of digital marketer. But she said, I understood that committing to one thing is the key to having everything. My husband's always said this, like, follow the money. Literally put your bucket under a tap that's already flowing.
Thank you.
Yeah, just like, if somebody's going to pay you money, the rest will come. And if it's your passion, it will come and you'll be able to put it in. But if it gets you off the ground and it gets you moving, and I promise you, like, follow the money and go in that direction, and then start to add in a few conversations here and there that put your focus in one direction for 30 days and make it happen.
Thank you so much. I'm being called left, right and centre. I'm going to go off now. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you, everybody, for goal setting.